I remember doing a portrait when I was at art school with myself, and I took it into the teacher, and he said, "You've painted this like a landscape." And I said, "Yeah, I did. I wanted myself to be sort of like a landscape." That's me. The National Gallery of Victoria, Australia, that building was very interesting in the stage that I was there, because nothing was really quite finished, and it was also developing quite quickly at the time when I was there, so there was a lot there to work from. I found it very exciting because my grandfather was a builder, and I had a lot of insight into building construction and things like that. And having just finished my art degree and then wanting to go out into the big old world, this was a pretty exciting offer, for someone who just got out of art school. I was the only person allowed on site. No photographer was even allowed on site, which was another kind of honour. Okay, well, I was asked by Sir Roy Grounds, would I do a series of drawings. Grounds was the architect of the NGV as it stands now. And he came around and saw me working and said that he thought the work was good, which I thought was a lot coming from a Sir. I guess he became Sir Roy Grounds after the beginnings. Well, when I was on site, I was looking for aspects of the building that would make a really good drawing per painting, So I wandered around for days and days and sketching, because like when I see a scene originally that I want to paint, I'll spot something just driving the car or something, go home, and I'll think, oh, I remember that scene still, it must be good. I'll go back there and paint from it and turn it into something. While I'm thinking about turning it into something, I'm thinking what I'm going to turn it into. And that could be overnight, or it could be a week or two. But the more I think about it, the more it becomes something of itself. Not just the scene, but something of itself. Which is really important, because that's what a painting is. One of the most exciting aspects of when things were changing was when the Keystone was going into the arch. Well, into one of the arches, there were several. And I was there the day they were lowering the Keystone, and there was a lot of nervousness with the construction guys that, is this thing going to lob in, because once it's in, it ain't coming out, and so I captured that in one of my sketches, which has become a painting. But they did amazingly well. They just went in there perfect and locked the whole thing together. So yeah, it was fun to be there for that. I did a series of 10 paintings that were much more traditional in the way they were painted. In other words, the paint was flat, they were worked, so the forms were well defined, But for me these days, that work seems very static. And the work I did this year is way more energetic, and to me seems so much more. The style is probably really much the same in these new paintings. Of like the way I paint a landscape now, a lot of that has gone into this new work. Because I wanted this new work to be me now, the way I express myself with colour and texture. I started off picking picking on what I thought was the most interesting paintings to begin with. But as I went along, I discovered the techniques that I was developing, and it was strange because I could actually go back in time as to why I did the drawings, how I did the drawings, what I was thinking when I did the drawings, so that all those thoughts when I did the paintings were being brought in and making the paintings basically live those moments again. You know, I could feel the power of the buildings, like the dynamics. Compositions were really important to me because composition is a major element in my work. I like this, you know, force and power of linear structures, and all of that's in these buildings. You know, this new energy that's in this new work, the paint's really quite piled on, and in many ways I mix the paint right on the canvas. Well, that's not traditional, that is just the way I work myself now. Paint dries pretty fast, but I like it to be fluent, and I like you to be able to see that the paint was put on fast and fluently. You can see the movement and the flow in the paint. And I use my hands and knives and all sorts of stuff to apply the paint, just whatever makes it work at the time. And that really is what helps to create the energy in the work, is that kind of fierceness. It just comes out that way, that, you know, you do stuff so directly that there's no thought of like, well, you shouldn't do that. It's more like, we're going to do that. Hoping that this new work is going to really do something, and the new approach of these paintings is going to be a fantastic additive to the drawings when they're exhibited. It's like when you get an idea and you dream it, and then you try to apply it. And so, yeah, the original drawings were right next to me, and what I did, I basically put the structure in with charcoal of what it was, but I've blown it up. So this gives it a dynamic straight away, that it's much larger, more in your face, and then slamming all these colours into it so that it's not just black and white, but it's really, really colourful, so that when people see it, they'll get the dynamic.